What's up, everybody? Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on Cheesehead TV. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Here we are, first day of joint practices between the Houston Texans and your beloved Green Bay Packers. Bit of a chippy affair. Think that was to be expected. Two teams that are ready to hit other guys at this point. And obviously the flashpoint being Lonnie Johnson. I've seen it described as laying out Jay Sternberger. I wouldn't really call it that. He gave him a good pop, but it could have been a lot worse. Lucas Patrick first on the scene after that. And I don't even think it was the hit so much as his kind of mean mugging over him afterwards that got the offense up in arms. They all came rushing out. So then the Texans defense came rushing out. A lot of pushing and shoving, but no real threat, I think, of a major fight there. But it was definitely noticeable. After that, Trevor Davis getting caught up on a kick return. He got spun like a top. He's being evaluated. No word yet if it's concussion-related or maybe just a stinger. Matt LaFleur saying after practice that they will have more for us in that regard. But overall, really physical affair. A lot of good teaching moments, you'd have to say. I will say the vibe was incredible. Obviously, the Packers haven't done this since 2005 when Mike Sherman had the Bills come to town. There was so much going on. When you've got two 90-man rosters taking up Nitschke Field, and then the attendant number of media members, not only covering the Texans, but lots of national people. Peter King was on the sideline. My friend Tom Pelissero's there for NFL Network. They've all got attendant, video people with them. It was busy. And then there were Texan VIPs roaming up and down, as well as the Packers people. Lots of bodies on the sideline. Bit of a circus, but I will say I talked to Brian Gutekunst at one point, and we were just kind of marveling at the vibe and how electric the atmosphere was. It was great. It was a great day. Hopefully more of that tomorrow. I know there's a storm coming in later this afternoon, but hopefully that clears out by the time tomorrow's practice rolls around. And look at all these fine folks in the chat. Kevin, was Sternberger concussed? No, he went into the Hudson Center and got medically checked out, and he rejoined practice later on. He should be A-OK. Za'Darius has looked really impressive. No, Tony? Yes. Za'Darius has looked outstanding. Once again, with offense, defense on one side and offense, defense on another. Today I watched a lot of the ones versus ones, Packers offense versus Texans defense. Tomorrow I'll go kind of flip that script. But the little I saw, Za'Darius was picking up right where he left off against his own teammates, always in the backfield. How's Jimmy Graham looking? A bit better than last year. How's that? I've actually been a little surprised how competent he's looked in line in some of their zone schemes as far as, taking on the point of attack. And he's never going to be a lights-out blocker. We all know this. But he's been a much more willing blocker than I remember, not only from last year, but pretty much from his entire career. I don't know if that lasts. I don't know what the secret formula that Matt LaFleur has reached into there, but he looks a little bit better than last year, which, hey, if they can just get him going a little bit, he's caught pretty much everything thrown to him this camp. We'll see if he can have a bit more of an effect on this offense. Do I believe that Matt LaFleur can lead the Packers to the playoffs? Yes. Yes, I do. Now, there are long odds. He's working against history here. No rookie head coach in the 100-year history of the Green Bay Packers has ever led his initial team to the postseason. And that includes Vince Lombardi, who did have a winning record, but did not make the postseason his first year as head coach in Green Bay. So if LaFleur can do it, he's overcoming big odds. But as Han Solo famously told us, never tell me the odds. Of the four tight ends, if one has to be cut, is Mercedes Lewis the likely candidate? Jesse, I would think so. Now, you never really know what a new staff puts emphasis on and or a relatively new-ish personnel group. But if they can do what they want to do on offense with guys like Tanyan and Sternberger especially since he's a draft pick and a pretty significant one, third-rounder, you would tend to believe that they would look at Mercedes Lewis as expendable. He's on a one-year deal. If they cut him before the first week of the season, they don't have to guarantee his contract. So If there's a candidate, he's the one. Is it par for the course for the offense to be a bit behind the defense early on? Absolutely, 100%. And that's under normal circumstances. Now you throw in the fact that they're learning an entirely new offensive system. It is no question they are exactly where you would expect them to be. I mean, would you hope / like them to be a bit further along? Of course. I think everybody would, including Matt LaFleur. But there is absolutely nothing that I've seen that would suggest that they're in trouble or behind the curve. They're right where you would, not where you want, but where you'd expect them to be. You know, especially with the number of pre-snap stuff that you'd have to do in this offense, that's going to take time to get down and be like, work, like clockwork, repetition, lots of repetition. And that's what they're going through right now. Did you anticipate the Texans toning it down tomorrow? Kind of didn't seem to keep their end of the bargain. Duke, I actually asked Matt LaFleur, did he think that Bill O'Brien's group got the message prior to practice? It seems they toned things down after the Trevor Davis hit, but they were, to my eyes, the more physical group. And LaFleur said he hadn't talked, or he did talk to O'Brien about the hit on Sternberger, but he hadn't addressed the entire, overall tone of the practice. I would think, you're a team, you have an identity. I wouldn't expect the Texans to back down at all. If anything, I think they'll probably lean into it a little bit more, and I expect the Packers to kind of rise to the occasion. Look, every team is different. Every team takes on the identity of their head coach. Bill Bryan is a tough son of a gun. I'd love the Packers to meet that energy, but so far through camp, it looks like LaFleur much more about stressing the smarts than the rough and tumble, so to speak. I am way more excited for this defense than the offense. I cannot wait to watch them play. Josh, for good reason. There's a ton of talent. And Mike Pettin, with the assembled group, has a lot to work with. No question about it. Kevin King needs new hamstrings and shoulders. He's more machine now than man, to quote Obi-Wan. Kevin King held out again, still dealing with that hamstring. However, Brian Gutekunst did indicate this morning when we talked to him that he doesn't expect this to be a long-term problem / concern for this season. He undoubtedly will know more in a day or two, but it doesn't sound. It sounds like a lot of this is precautionary, much more so than a potential, significant injury that's going to keep him out multiple weeks. Now we'll see. We'll see how that actually comes to pass, but that's the initial word. Just cut the helmet-to-helmet stuff like the hit on Sternberger, and I have no problem. I don't even know if it was helmet-to-helmet, though. I know he hit him kind of in the shoulder pad area, but I didn't see a helmet-to-helmet thing. Now, it could have been. I didn't have a great angle on it. But, it's football, and LaFleur said as much. You're not going to be able to eliminate every hit. Yeah, sometimes you're just going 100 miles an hour, and it's hard to pull up in instant fashion. These guys aren't Jedis. They can't just stop things. But where you get concerned is where guys maybe line somebody up. And that's kind of what I think they were reacting to. And then, of course, like I said, the mean mugging afterwards didn't rub anyone the right way. Let's talk Tony Brown on DeAndre Hopkins. Christopher, the little I saw, I did see some. Youngster held his own. Now, you do wonder, how much of that is real, how much of that is live. But from what I saw, yeah, Brown was going toe-to-toe with the vet. And, one of the best receivers in the league. And that's something I talked to Gutekunst about on the sideline today. We had a fun exchange in the press conference where he said, well, maybe Brown, because I said Tony Brown didn't play as many snaps as maybe you liked last year. And he said, well, he probably played more than you realize. And I said, what? I've only been talking Tony Brown up all summer. But he did say the thing he loves about Brown is that he's got a very short memory, which you love for a corner. He said he can get beat for a touchdown, come back right away next play, and keep yapping and just completely have the same confidence he had on the play before. So you like that from a young guy, and you saw it out there with Hopkins today, toe-to-toe the entire afternoon, or entire morning, as it were. How does Clark look so far? Gaga, I actually put up a tweet. Kenny Clark in one-on-ones versus the Texans wasn't fair. He was beating every person put in front of him. His quickness, his power, whether it's an inside move, whether it's a bull rush, it doesn't matter. Clark is the real deal. Yeah, he was fun to watch today in the one-on-ones. How is Trevor Davis looking? He was looking very good until he got injured on the first kick return of practice. It looked like somebody snagged his helmet a little bit, and he got turned, and then he got spun like a top. and he fell on the ground, and he was very, very slow to get up. Trainers came over. They took his helmet away, brought him over to the sideline, took him inside for an evaluation. And like I said, we don't know. Concussion possibility probably, but they the initial word was maybe it's a stinger, so we'll have to see what comes out either tonight or tomorrow morning. Mark Vitale. Holy cow, this kid is a weapon. Anybody who's been watching Packers Daily all throughout the summer knows that I thought the Packers were going to try and move on from this kid. Let me tell you, I could not have been more wrong about Vitale because he is a legitimate weapon. You saw it again today. Deep down the seam, catching it. In the flat, nobody within 10 yards of him because they all forgot about the fullback. Gets an easy first down. And then towards the end, one of the last competitive periods, he goes on a wheel route down the sideline. Contested catch, one-on-one, rips the ball away from the defender. Another big play for Vitale, the fullback, who is here making a name for himself. You cannot stop him. You can only hope to contain him. Can you describe the Vitale catch down the sideline? I just did. I don't know if it's the best catch at camp. Let's slow down there, but it was pretty phenomenal. Over under 9 games for Kevin King this year. Michael, as my good friend Corey Banke says, it's still camp. It's still pre-camp, camp / before the preseason. Nothing but hope here. He's going to play all 16 games. You heard it here first. And if he misses a game, then you can erase the tape. But I'm telling you, I still believe in Kevin King. The naysayers be damned. How was Trey Carson? He was running with the ones yesterday. He was in and out, kind of in the mix today due to the fact that Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams are still dealing with hamstring injuries. Not a lot of places to run today. And that's not just Carson. That's everybody in the backfield. The defensive line was getting after the Packers' offensive line. And part of that was due to the Texans are very talented up front. Obviously, J.J. Watt was part of that group at the initial part of practice, though he fell off later. But also, Corey LINSLEY was out today with a biceps injury. Obviously, the Packers don't want to see anything even close to an injury to Corey LINSLEY. In his stead, Justin McCray was taking snaps with the ones at center. And I thought he actually kind of held his own, but the difference in McCray to LINSLEY is vast. And you could tell, especially when it came to trying to get up to the second level, they just couldn't do it. Again, it's early, but Texans defense definitely kind of dominated them in that regard today. But with that said, I thought they held up surprisingly well in pass pro, given that LINSLEY's the one who makes all the protection calls. It didn't look like that really missed a beat with McCray in there. So that's a positive sign if you're looking for the positive. Elton Jenkins getting some first-team reps at left guard. He did yesterday. I didn't see if he did today. I don't think he did today. I think it was Taylor. And I tell you what, it's funny you say that because at one point they were doing a stretch zone to the left, and Taylor took his guy and drove him right into the dirt and just turned around like, see ya. I think, maybe got a little fire lit under him after Jenkins took some reps with the one yesterday. I don't think he appreciated it. We saw that yesterday when Taylor was running with the twos. He got a little physical. So maybe that's what it takes. Maybe that lets him know, hey, buddy, you don't keep it up. You get snapped back to the play we saw when we gave you your deal. Maybe we'll put this rookie in there. So now, as Matt LaFleur said, every opportunity is earned, every rep is earned. Jenkins has certainly earned a look, but Taylor, I still expect him to fight for that gig, no question. Who's next up if King doesn't play, Jason? It has been Tony Brown so far. Now that's, you say nickel, that's legitimately now in the NFL a starting defense because you've got Jaire Alexander on one side, Tony Brown on the other, and then Tramon Williams on the inside. You do wonder if they get out of that nickel and just go 2 corners, if they would kick Williams over there and put Brown on the bench. But right now, it's been Tony Brown taking Kevin King's place. Where would Kevin King get his Packer tickets? That's a great question, Zachary. If whatever reason he can't make the game or his friends are coming in town and he's out of his allotment, the best place for him to go would be cheeseheadtv.com and find a link to Ticket King. They're located here in Green Bay, right over there across from Lambeau Field. But if you're not in Green Bay, just go to cheeseheadtv.com and click on the link to Ticket King. They've got all your Packers tickets needs taken care of, whether it's a preseason game, postseason game, if they're lucky enough to get there, any home game, any away game, they've got them all. And for a very limited time, if you use the code PACK2019, that's capital P, PACK2019, you can get 10% off your order. But it's a very limited time, so hurry up and get to Ticket King at cheeseheadtv.com. Give Brown all the reps. Get him ready. I think that's exactly what they're doing. EQ got blasted at practice today. He did take a lick. There's no doubt about it. Jake still turning heads? Yes. Banky's yard is getting much greener. Hey, look at that. Corey Banky, his lawn, getting a shout out. See what was good. How did MVS show up against the Texans secondary? He had a number of really nice catches. He had a bad drop at one point, but he came back and caught a really nice comeback route up the right sideline, and then came a couple plays later on the left sideline, caught a quick out from Rodgers. That connection seems to has been picking up here these last few days. Really encouraging to see. And the one on the right sideline, the deep comeback, was super nice because Rodgers threw it well before MVS had come out of his break. And MVS did something at the top of his route to turn the defensive back all around. So other than the drop, which was unfortunate, really strong day from MVS from my vantage point. How has J.K. Scott looked? We call this the Corey Banky portion of the stream. He had a really strong day yesterday punting against the rush. I didn't see much of him today. They did have a kicking exhibition there at the end where Ficken and Crosby were taking turns, kicks. Crosby looks a little rusty, to be honest, but we'll see how that plays out now over time. Crosby, it's his first day back actually kicking on the practice field, so I'll give him a week or so before I start kind of looking and worrying. Thanks for all you do. Thanks, Bulls for Life. Given Kings and Jackson's health concerns and Jackson's growth and Dramon's age and very little depth besides Brown, and that other guy doing okay, how concerning is the depth at cornerback? Well, I love that you say, and that other guy. You mean Holman, the rookie, who's kicking ass? I wouldn't count it as a concern at this point. Who knows what's going on with Jackson, but you got to expect him to come off that non-football injury list at some point here. And look, it is really kind of a luxury to even be able to continue doing what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball because they have a Tony Brown who played significant minutes for them last year, knows the defense. He can step right in, and they don't really miss a beat. Now, obviously, you'd prefer Kevin King to be out there, but they're still able to operate. Mike Pettin doesn't have to kind of simplify or short down the playbook at all. That's a testament to their depth. And look, I get Packer fans get so dialed into their own team, it's hard to take that 30,000-foot view, but the Packers, they have some decent depth across this roster that not a lot of other teams can point to and say, yeah, we've got that, we've got that. Are there holes? Are there issues? Yeah, but I wouldn't, at this point, put cornerback at one of them just yet. Any concerns with practice length? Sure seems like this team isn't getting enough time on the field. Timmy, I've been asked about this a lot, and it sure seems like they're getting done what they need to get done. And just because you're working longer doesn't mean you're working smarter or better. Now, obviously, this will be proved out throughout the season, but it's clear that this is something LaFleur really believes in, and I'm interested to see if that philosophy bears itself out. But it's not like they're not working. They do a ton of classroom work, and they're still doing walkthroughs at the end of the night, so they're on the field. Oh, look at that. Somebody's giving us some love. But, so to finish up that question, I don't think there's any question that it's much shorter than we're used to in Green Bay over the past decade. But early blush, looking at it, sure feels like they're getting done what they need to get done. And, keeping them out there for another 40 minutes or whatever just to do it and say you did it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing good work. John, this is so nice of you. John Faust with the $15 super chat. Thanks for keeping us informed and entertained throughout the season and the offseason and training camp. Better camp so far, EQ or Savage? I got to go with EQ just because Savage has barely been on the field. He is finally working with the ones in team drills and competitive stuff. But EQ, far and away, if those are the two you're asking about, he's been very, very solid, if not, just playing good as far as getting down the field. He had a couple day or two ago where he broke loose, but the quarterback either didn't see him or couldn't get him the ball. But that doesn't diminish the work he's done. I think he's had a really strong camp. And it's funny because a lot of his completions have come from Kaiser. So I think maybe he gets lost in the mix a little bit. Maybe you don't hear about him as much as you do the other guys because they're going with the ones. So you're going to hear more about it. But EQ's had a strong camp, to my eyes at least. And most importantly, he's getting work on special teams, which indicates, where he is on the roster. They certainly want to find uses for him, want to keep him in the mix and make him able to be on that 46-man roster on game day. So, yeah, I think he's had a really good camp. It's not to take anything away from Savage. It's just he missed so much time early on. He's just kind of starting to get the feel for things. How are the pad levels? They're great, Joseph. Let me tell you. Great pad levels. What's the best song you've heard on the practice playlist? Matt, I don't know about the best song, but it was great today early on when they were doing initial stuff on the field. Jaire Alexander literally went over to the little pod where they have the DJ, the guy who plays all the music, DJ Joe, as Matt LaFleur called him. And Alexander commandeered the DJ booth and made him play an offset track. So certainly that was not my favorite song of camp so far. They teased me with Led Zeppelin, but then turned it off the other day. That was upsetting. But probably my favorite so far is probably Thunderstruck, when they played Thunderstruck by AC/DC during the one-on-ones early on in camp. That was just a great setting. Perfection. Perfect soundtrack. Ficken getting the better of Crosby. I don't know about that, but you know, it's so early. But if Ficken can get a little bit more consistent, he may have a chance. Nags, any reason to be concerned about the injuries today? Sorry if you covered this, Garrett. No problem. I know it's a long stream, so people get in here later sometimes. Nothing too concerning long term. Trevor Davis, let's find out what exactly they're looking at there. We don't know exactly. It could be a stinger. It could be, you know, maybe it's a concussion. We'll find out. I would suspect it would come out sometime tonight. But yeah, other than that, no. Sternberger returned. Raven Green left the field for a little bit, but he came back. So it doesn't sound like there's anything long-term to worry about. Take one or two more here. Since there is a deep music playlist during practice, does this mean game day at Lambeau's playlist will change? That's adorable. Wait, they have a DJ? Do other teams do that? Did McCarthy? Augie, no, McCarthy did not, most certainly. A DJ in name, in the sense that he's in charge of the playlist and making things go down when they have instructional periods so the coaches can yell instruction. But yeah, he mans the ones and twos, DJ Joe. And no, that certainly did not happen under Mike McCarthy. Yeah, oh, that's right. Oh, yes, this is hilarious. J.J. Watt broke the kid's bike. You know, so much was made of J.J. coming to Wisconsin. He tweets when he lands. Everyone's excited. All this media out there. Of course, I just missed him because I was inside doing something with the Packers, and I'm coming out. And J.J. literally sits on this kid's bike. I think maybe went a foot or two, and the seat broke. So he had to pick the bike up and carry it on his shoulder. J.J. Watt. Come into the Lambeau to wreck your kid's bike. Get out there tomorrow morning, kids. It'll be a lot of fun. Knew Davis's crappy footwork and his route running would do him in. No surprise, except he got hurt on a kick return. It's a nice try to be negative there, but if you're going to be negative, at least rooted in fact, so somebody will care. You'll see Crosby in Chicago, so just stop it. That's what I keep saying, Matt. Like, people are like, oh, cut Crosby, cut Crosby. A, he'd be unemployed for about 10 minutes, and B, he'll undoubtedly end up in Chicago. They're just waiting. And then he would kill the Packers somehow. Hey, Beezer12, what's up? Thanks so much for the super chat. Zeppelin is top 3 fave. Do you think Packers keep 7 wide receivers? And if so, is keeping Shepard over Moore a legitimate bet? I don't know about riding with us. Talk to Jersey Al about that. But Shepard over Moore is a way, way big jump. I don't see that happening. But I tell you what, Shepard had a sweet sideline catch today, laid out for an out route from Boyle. You know, there have been a number of plays. Shepard caught just a missile from Aaron Rodgers at one point. Really fitted in there between two defenders. But Moore has looked good. He's had a really good camp. He had a strong camp. And seeing as he's a pretty significant draft choice, I'd be shocked if they went Shepard over Moore. And as for your question about 7 wide receivers, that seems a bit much. But you never know. It really depends on the makeup of, you know, who they keep other places at other position groups. It's a possibility. A very, very long shot. Austin, thank you so much for the super chat. Love your stuff, Nagler. As a young sports reporter, I love how you give updates and insight on the Packers. Thank you, Austin, and the super chat means a lot. Thank you so much. It's really nice of you. Rodgers needs his Jerry Rice. Well, he had his Jerry Rice and Greg Jennings. If the season started tomorrow, who starts? Jackson, Brown, or Holman? Tomorrow? Well, Jackson's still hurt, so Brown. The Holman would probably come in time. What was your favorite play of the practice? I can't lie. Can't lie. It's got to be Vitale with the contested catch. It was sweet. That was my favorite play. My favorite moment was probably, I don't know, there was a great time when J.J. Watt tried to take advantage of David Bakhtiari, and Bakhtiari just stood him up. So that was fun. I agree. Moore has a nice catch over the top of someone today. He did. Who's the sixth man thus far on the O-line? Duke, it's been Justin McCray. He's been everywhere. They've used him today. They had him at center because LINSLEY was out, but they've used him at tackle. They've run him at guard. He's certainly, as it appears to be constructed right now, your first utility lineman. And now I don't know if that lasts. Maybe things change after preseason games start, but right now he's the leader in the clubhouse there. Who's had a better camp, Kumaro or Vitale? Vitale, no question. How did the offense look? Steven? Like a work in progress. Rodgers has Jimmy Graham, Devontae Adams, and Aaron Jones. That triple threat is excellent. Rodgers has weapons. Well, I don't think the person who said the thing about Jerry Rice was saying that he doesn't have weapons. I think we all agree there. But I get the idea of he needs the one go-to guy. But I will say the best quarterbacks in the league elevate the play of those around him. Mike McCarthy said as much. The great players raise the level of the play of the guys around them. And Tom Brady's made a living out of that. Now, yes, they went out and got Moss for him for a little bit. He had Gronkowski for long stretches, but he's also been without those guys and produced, no matter who's in there. So would it be nice to have a premier guy like that? Yeah, sure, of course. But Rodgers is one of the best to ever do it. He doesn't need it. Let's make that clear. How's Gmo looked overall? He's looked really good, Matt. He's looked very, very solid. Eric, any concerns over special teams? No, not yet, Eric. Today was their first day doing any kind of live work in special teams. They haven't done it in practice. They didn't do it on family night. Today was the first time they did any kind of real work, live hitting work. So, and even that's not truly live. So, no, it's so early. Let's see what happens in the preseason when they start to have to do these things in an actual game setting, because it is so hard when guys are running in and out. They're mixing and matching personnel. I don't think there's any concerns yet. All right, it's going to be the last one. Here we go. Want to have some beers with us on Thursday night? Steven, you just let us know. Email Corey and I. We'll find you in the parking lot. Lot 1 is where to be, man. Let me tell you. Lot 1, Thursday night, it's going to be kicking. We've been waiting all offseason for Lot 1 to pop off. Get there on Thursday for some adult beverages. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to your question, and thank you for all the super chats. They're fantastic. It really helps support everything we do at Cheesehead TV. And speaking of supporting what we do, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video, share us on Facebook, find us on Twitter and retweet us, and Instagram, follow us there. And hey, if you really like what we do and you want to kind of help what we do long term, please support our Patreon page, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. $5 a month supports everything we do. We also have a bunch of tiers where you can support Packer Transplants, which will make its triumphant return on August 24th. So a lot going on with practice and camp, a lot going on with Cheesehead TV. We're so thrilled that you guys come along each and every day joining us here from Green Bay. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.